Hello, welcome back to the AJ Review Show, episode 10. We are officially in the double digits. Who would have thought we would have got this far? Probably not me, definitely not you, but it does mean you stayed around for 10 whole episodes. I was buzzing to make this episode. I have been so excited for the release, specifically one of these films. We're going to get straight into it in a second, but there has been so much build up around one of these films that I really hope you enjoy the review. I really hope you watch it. I hope you've seen the series. You probably already know the film I'm talking about. But the two other films, this actually really surprised with how good they were, but we're going to get all into that in just a second. But let's start with the very first film.
This can't all be true.
Every word.
So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I was buzzing for this film. Truly, truly buzzing. I haven't been a lifelong fan of the Mission Impossible series, which is a crime to admit, but I have been a fan for a long time. I wish I'd watched them as they came out, but probably a little bit too young. I remember binge watching all of them. One's great, two's not bad, and then from 2 onwards, every film seems to get better than the last, and I'm really pleased to say that the trend has continued all the way through till the end. It's had a lot of criticism online. There have been a lot of mixed reviews. I cannot personally understand what all of the mixed reviews are for. I don't understand why some people have not enjoyed this film as much. Like, some people are saying that the film drags too much in the start and it's so it's unrealistic, it's fantastical. That kind of is the Mission Impossible world. You have to suspend what you know as reality to enjoy it. It's like watching any film, you know. If you went and watched a Marvel film and you were like, oh, this isn't realistic, oh, there's too many characters, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to get into some of the criticism more, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I think you should take what I say as gospel, because I review films a lot, and this is a fantastic, fantastic action film. So it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, so you've got to strap yourself in, get yourself a Tango Ice Blast. I had my first one at the weekend, got some hate for my opinions. They're okay, they're just not that great. It's just like an upgraded Slush Puppy. It's nothing that crazy, people. But get yourself an Ice Blast, get yourself a big bag of popcorn that you obviously bought in the Odeon for the small price of like 14.5 quid or something like that. But you got to strap yourself in for this one. It's an absolute epic. So, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, he has done Top Gun, The Usual Suspects, Edge of Tomorrow, and every Mission Impossible film from the 4th one onwards. So they also had, like, I think J.J. Abrams directed one of the early ones as well. 2, they got in like a foreign director, and they had some really sort of clashing views on it. So that's why 2's a bit of a, don't get turned off by 2. Do 1. If you want skip 2, I mean, you can skip it, but they've had a lot of different directors up until 4 where they've obviously found their groove. He's obviously, working on Top Gun, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat with Tom Cruise. He obviously, like I say, you can really tell when a director has worked with an actor a lot, because the chemistry and the performances they can both get out from the director, but also from the actor's point of view, you get a lot more. And I'm really pleased they haven't switched it up for the last bit. Obviously, Final Reckoning is part 2 when part 1 came out last year of Dead Reckoning. So if you only watch 1, just watch the one before. Obviously, you're going to be a little bit lost, but I'm really pleased that they've managed to continue how it feels, the theme, that it was all seems to have been. It ties together really nicely. It's not like watching 2 different films, If they got another director, and it would have been a travesty. So, from a director standpoint, it's really good. Obviously, you've got Tom Cruise, the main man of the film, all the Mission Impossible films, Top Gun Maverick, like I said, Edge of Tomorrow, and Rain Man. Rain Man is a film that I've basically tried to mention every week now. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's fantastic. Simon Pegg, Benji, probably the best side character. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Ving Rhames, really, really famous. Pulp Fiction, Lilo and Stitch, and Dawn of the Dead. So we have Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg, Dawn of the Dead, Ving Rhames. Hayley Atwell, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Paddington in Peru, Shout Out Paddington, and Cinderella, and just a bunch of other Marvel projects. Pom Gilem Old Boy, Uncut Gems, and Suicide Squad. I've definitely butchered your name, I'm really sorry. And S.I. Morales, NYPD Boo, and La Bamba. So, there's a few names there you probably do recognise. I would expect most people to recognise Simon Pegg. Obviously, S.I. Morales is the villain in this. He was also the villain in Dead Reckoning as well. So, like I said, if you can only watch 1, just watch 1 before it. But it really is worth watching all of them. If you can watch all of them, binge them, just to see this in cinema, it's worth it, trust me. It's like if you hadn't seen the first Dune film, why would you go and watch Dune 2? You could watch it. It would kind of make sense. But, you need the groundwork. You want to experience the characters. So the first thing I want to say is I wanted to give a mention to the other people they've cast across the Mission Impossible franchise because it's an incredible run. So John Voight took me a very long time. This is a real throwback. John Voight is from Midnight Cowboy, something I reviewed way back. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jeremy Renner, but he's not a villain. Léa Seydoux, who is a villain. Alec Baldwin, not a villain. Sean Harris, you have twice. He was fantastic. He's such a good villain. And Henry Cavill. So most of them villains, but just an incredible run of actors they managed to get into this, and just supporting cast like Jeremy Renner. I remember he's really, really good in this. But the first point I want to tackle is I have to give a shout out to my brother because he said something that has stuck in my mind for the last week. Whenever you think of a Mission Impossible film, you don't really remember the villains because the story isn't about the villains. It's about Ethan Hunt. So Ethan Hunt is Tom Cruise's character. The film is not about the villain, even though they write villains really well. They actually are evil. They're not like Disney-ified, really weak, limp-wristed villains. They're proper villains. They're evil. But you don't remember the villain. You remember the crazy thing that Tom Cruise did, the stunt off the Burj Khalifa, the bike, the plane, like all this crazy stuff that he gets up to. The films are made as a homage to heroes, as an homage to Tom Cruise and just the unbelievable world that he managed to create, whatever he does. But specifically in this, you don't think of the villains, you think of the heroes. And it's interesting because so many, like Thanos in the MCU, No Country for Old Men, Javier Bardem, Jaws. I know Jaws isn't really, but he is the villain of the piece. Most films with villains, The Dark Knight, they center around how awful the villain is. What's he going to get away with? Are they going to catch him? And although the villain does obviously drive the piece, it's Tom Cruise that you remember at the end of the film. It's his heroism that is, wow, like, oh, wow, like, look, that amazing thing that he did. He managed to stop the world from ending again. It's an amazing sort of flip on the script for what we expect to be normal, and evil is taking the day and evil in the limelight. Tom Cruise is in the limelight for this whole film, and throughout all of the series, I'm just so for it. It was a fantastic, fantastic point. So, to give you a little run, the stakes are even higher in this film. Spoiler alert, I'm not really going to be giving like direct spoilers, but spoiler alert, because if you haven't seen part 1, you're going to be lost in what I'm talking about here. So the film is set up from Dead Reckoning Part 1. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, get to see it. They are the greatest action films. I think this film pretty much puts Tom Cruise as the greatest action star of all time, and it puts Mission Impossible as the greatest action film of all time. I'm sorry, that is just, in my opinion, unequivocally the truth. You mean, you have people, like Sylvester Stallone, Swords, The Rock, Vin Diesel, even people like that are put in the same conversation, but for action films now, I don't think you get any bigger than Tom Cruise. So the premise is that there is an AI known as the Entity who is like incredibly powerful, can hack into anything, get into any server or mainframe, clone voices, and think for itself. So it's this incredibly powerful AI. And does that sound familiar to anyone? AI? No one worried about AI? You Terminator, this, Ex Machina, no one worried at this point. No, we're just going to keep using it. Has anyone seen the stuff that Google put out recently of the videos of the AI, like what they can now make? No one's worried about it. Fine. The original source code is buried on a submarine that now rests at the bottom of the ocean. So the start of part 1 is the Entity takes over the ship and buries its source code so that no one can get to it and sort of tamper with the Entity because it's become so powerful. The only thing that could destroy it or alter it is its original source code, which is now buried at the bottom of the sea in a submarine. Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, has once again been forgotten by his country and is wanted the world over. He is the only man with the know-how, the team, and the key to the source code who can bring the world back from basically like a certain apocalypse. Can he do it?
What exactly is your plan?
So if that doesn't get you hooked into wanting to watch the film or the series of films, I don't know what will. It is adrenaline pumping, high octane action from start to end. I would like shaking, goosebumps, wanting to be sick, and that was only the first 5 minutes. It is just an incredible film to watch. So action from start to end. Like I said, you kind of have to suspend your reality filter for a little while. It's not so ridiculous. I mean, he doesn't like fly or anything like that. It's not completely beyond the realm of reality, but there are a few things that you think, I don't know if he could do that. Maybe Tom Cruise could actually do that. It wouldn't really surprise me that much if you saw Tom Cruise clinging to the side of a plane or something like that. It's stunt after stunt after stunt that leaves you on the edge of your seat. It's just, it doesn't relent really for any point. There is a really cool bit where there are two fight scenes going on simultaneously, and it cuts between them, and you're just like, oh God, it's going badly there. Oh God, it's going badly there. And it just sort of like jockeys you between the two. It is so much fun to watch. It's just non-stop, and because it's so well made and the action's so good, although it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, it doesn't feel like 2 hours even remotely. We were dialed in. I went to go and see this with two other people, my brother and his mate, shout out, and we were just dialed in this IMAX, like absolutely locked in. The three of us just lapping up every moment of craziness. It was such a well-made, enjoyable film. Even stuff like the cinematography, which I think sort of lacked in the early Mission Impossible films. They have some wonderful shots where they just like really flip the world of reality on its head and give you some just amazing shots like in the water and of ice and things like that. They're not just giving you a cinema experience that is enjoyable in terms of adrenaline, but they're giving you a cinema experience that is amazing to view. It's not just, if you watch like one of the Rock's action films, I'm not trying to gun after the guy here, but cinematography wise, they're pretty lacking. It's him jumping off of buildings and explosions, stuff like that, like a big Michael Bay film. But this, they're actually trying to show you the beauty of the world. It's not just that Ethan Hunt has all the pressure on him of trying to save the world. They're also showing you the beauty of what he's trying to save. The friendships he makes, the love that he has, the people around him, the people worldwide that are being affected in this film for the first time. It wants to show you that we can do more than just give you an action film. We can make you feel things as well. And it has set a new bar, not just for action films, but for films across the board. They have set a new standard for what we should expect from our films.
Our lives are the sum of our choices. If this was your calling, your destiny, I have no regrets. Neither should you.
I think it's probably the best send-off for any character you could have. Not saying any spoilers at all about how things end. There are a few red herrings towards the end. There's some real gut-wrenching, close, cool moments. And it's like, oh God, oh no, oh God. Oh, like, honestly, you won't relax watching this, but the send-off is really, really great. Having watched this, it upsets me even more that they couldn't give Bond in No Time to Die the same kind of amazing send-off that Ethan Hunt gets in this. He got absolutely done over in No Time to Die, and this film just shows you that actually you can end a trilogy or you can end a series of films in a way that's respectable and people are going to love. I mean, people are arguing about it online, but it's still an amazing send-off to a beloved character. The only problem I had was that there are slightly too many like twists towards the end, and I feel they should have just sort of let it roll out naturally, whereas instead of right at the end when it's just like left, right, which way are we going, I feel they could have slowed it down a little bit just so we can have a bit more of a real moment at the end. I would have liked. It's a fantastic bit of acting from the main cast. As usual, I mean, Tom Cruise in an action role, I'm not going to keep, glorifying him, but he's fantastic. That's all the more I'm going to say. Simon Pegg is like the comedic relief in the film, as he is in most things. I really, really like Simon Pegg. He's very funny, especially towards the end. Ving Rhames, as always in these films, is the sensible and calm in all the madness, the voice of reason and everything, and a central part of the Mission Impossible franchise. I watched some behind the scenes of Tom Cruise doing his action sequences. Basically stunts that I don't think anyone else would do, by the way. And it's him saying, we'll start slow. Like, there's a specific scene that I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it, but he's like, they're doing this huge stunt. He's like, we'll start slow because it takes me a while to recover. He's like, we'll just get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker until I cannot recover anymore. The guy loves it. He's absolutely crazy for it. And his commitment and embodiment of this role is like nothing else I've ever seen. He is just, Tom Cruise is the man. I remember a little while ago as well hearing that he might be doing the last Quentin Tarantino film. If anyone who knows Quentin Tarantino can please tell him, for the love of God, get Tom Cruise in for your last film, because it would be a generational classic. Please, please, please. Tom Cruise and Quentin Tarantino in the same room. Woo! God, can you imagine? So, a big criticism I've seen about the film is that it's a bit slow in the first hour. There is too much nostalgia and there are too many characters. To all of that, I would say that the first hour, I would agree with, is a little bit slow, but they have to set up a nearly 3-hour-long film. If they jumped into it in the first 10 minutes, I know that it has the film preceding it, but you have to give the film time to build up, or by the end of it, when everything's going crazy, you wouldn't care as much. The first bit has to be slower to allow the film to do this, or it would just do that. And by the end of it, you'd be feeling nothing. So you need the sort of slowness. But I do agree, the first hour is a little bit slow. There is a lot of sort of melancholy throwbacks, and this is where we've come from, this is what we've done. I loved it. I mean, there were some people brought back that were just such an unusual shout that just show you how much they actually care about what they're showing you, how much thought's gone into the production. I didn't hate there was a few montages of, you know, what Ethan Hunt's been up to over the years. I enjoyed it because it's a celebration as much as anything that they have made an 8-film long run with, that is probably one of the most successful action series ever. It's a celebration of where they've come from. It's not just the final film. It's the culmination of years and years of work, hard work, stunts, and millions of pounds being put into this as a project. You have to show it some love. You have to show people and remind everyone where you've been so that you can understand where you're going. You can't understand where you're going if you don't understand the past. And that's all the film's trying to do. It's giving you everything it can. And the final thing that I saw people complain about is that there was too many people in this final cast. To those people, I would say, are you thick and dull in the head? How can there be too many people? That's like saying in Avengers Endgame, there was too many people. So in the huge culmination, no, there's too many people in it. How could there not be too many people? If it was just Tom Cruise, you go, bloody hell, there's not enough people in this. How's he going to do this? It's just, it annoys me how people are so like, they want to nitpick something like that. You would have to have this many people. It's the 8th film in a franchise. Imagine Avengers Endgame with just Captain America and Spider-Man. It just wouldn't, it has to have the scale, it has to have the size. It has to have some realm of reality that in something that's concerning the entire world, an AI taking over, blowing everyone's smithereens, you have to take into account there is going to be a lot of people that really care about it. So there is a lot of people, but you get quite a bit of time with every character. Like I said, it's nearly 3 hours long. It's not like no one gets their say in things. There are a lot of characters. A few of them were probably a little bit unnecessary. There are a couple of characters that are a bit sort of useless, but there's going to be a lot of characters in the 8th film in. They have to bring in new blood into films, or they would remain too stagnant and boring.
If we want to bring the world back from the brink, we have to deal with him.
Very obviously haven't cut any corners to the film. The reality they provide, the world they've built, they show you everything. Also, some of the rigs they made for this I've seen. Incredible. Very sort of reminiscent of the stuff they made for Inception. But they've put their heart and soul into this, and you can really, really tell how much it means to the cast, the directors, everyone who's made it. They have put so much love into bringing you a truly cinematic experience. And the way to experience this film is at the cinema. Full of drama, emotion, action, gut-wrenching goodbye to such a beloved set of films. I'm going to give this 5 stars. Take a bow, Mr. Hunt. And that's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
And on to our next film.
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
Okay, so that was Thunderbolts. I am really, really behind because this came out quite a while ago. 2 hours and 6 minutes long. I was really, really slow to the mark on this one. Really slow. So you're going to have to forgive me. So we've got Florence Pugh, who we know from We Live in Time. Again, the first film I ever reviewed on this channel. Midsummer and Oppenheimer. Lewis Pullman, new to the MCU. Top Gun Maverick, Salem's Lot, Bad Times at the El Royale. David Harbour, Stranger Things, Hellboy, and Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo, really overlooked film. Probably going to come up on Under the Radar soon. Wyatt Russell, 22 Jump Street, 21 Jump Street, Night Swim. You'll also know him from Falcon and Winter Soldier, like the series. and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice, A Different Man, and The Martian. And then the side cast, Wendell Pierce, Chris Berriou, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So just quickly, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like the evil sort of bad guy in this film. I thought she was toneless, really sort of boring to watch on stage. She's supposed to be sort of like this business type woman, but she's evil. Honestly, just really boring. Like, I don't think she was a good bit of casting for the role whatsoever. She's kind of like Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad, but just worse. Just like more boring, no real screen presence, nothing really to do. Like I said, I was really late to the film. I'm glad I've seen it though, and I think you would be surprised actually at what Marvel have managed to put together here. So the rough idea of the film is that there is a new ragtag team that's been forced together when an operation goes wrong. So they all sort of get thrown into a situation, realise that they're going to have to work together to get out of it. Now, it's a new and a very unsuper team. Now they've banded together to defeat a new and incredibly powerful threat. I will admit to you, it does sound like every Marvel film ever. Anything to do with Avengers, any team-up film. It does sound like the usual Marvel trope. But I actually found it to be like a new sort of daring turn for Marvel. It's a new look, it's a new feel. It kind of broke the usual script they would go for, and it made it sort of daring and refreshing to watch. It does follow the same, they introduce all the characters, you get used to them, they have a problem, they overcome it, they have a problem, they overcome it sort of thing, but it does it in a way they haven't done it before. So usually they have like some big external battle, they're fighting the alien or whatever, but this time actually they tackled something they've never tackled before in Marvel films. That's mental health. It's a really weird thing for a superhero film to cover. I'll just be straight up honest. I thought it was an odd choice for them, but it works really, really well because it's not the same script that we're used to with Marvel, where it's just like sort of boring CGI fights. There's some realm of reality to it, and you see like a new, different kind of fight. It works really well as well because all of the characters in this are all sort of the cut-offs, the left-behinds, the unwanted bits, None of the characters that make up the Thunderbolts are wanted by anyone else. They are mercenaries and crooks. They have some kind of like maybe a little bit of goodness in them, but no one's ever bothered to try and find it. They are unwanted basically. So you can imagine that mentally in their heads they have a few issues. They don't feel the same love and admiration that Captain America or Iron Man felt. They have a goodness to them that has never really been explored in Marvel films before, and they dared to do this. They dared to say, but what about the mental side? What is going on in their heads? What else are they fighting? What are the pressures they're feeling to be who they are? Are they been forced into it? Is this their choice? Is this the life they actually want? And you get a new look at sort of the anti-hero side of things, and I really, really liked it. So the film mostly centers around Lewis Pullman's character in the film. He has some kind of mental health problem that he struggles with, and it affects his abilities. I don't really want to give it away because actually the trailer does a really good job of not giving it away, but what he is and what he becomes is fantastic. He's actually a really, really scary character. He has like a sort of Jekyll and Hyde thing, and the scary side of him is terrifying. I mean, it's actually, once again, is a proper villain. It is ruthless in his portrayal, but what his character is actually ruthless. It's not just like, I don't know, the snap, Thanos' snap was really quick. It was ruthless, but everything went away really quickly. His power is like slow and kind of methodical and scary. It's not 50% of everything. It's 100% of everything. It's way scarier, and it just felt refreshing to watch something that could be asked to do something other than what they usually do in Marvel films. The film goes out of its way to challenge mental health stigmas in a way that isn't preachy or overcooked. It doesn't stuff it down your throat. It's just, this is what the Marvel film is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I feel like the people who have liked it have probably really resonated with it. I resonated with it. I thought it was really, really well made, and I am really going to recommend this film. I have quite a few problems with it as well, unfortunately. As much as I really enjoyed the story, I enjoyed where they took it, and I liked some of the characters. Some of the characters were just outright awful. Bucky and Taskmaster were pointless. Entirely pointless. I feel like a big draw for this film was that Bucky was in it. But he's just, both of them are toneless, boring, completely underused and useless. Basically, neither of them really do anything, especially Taskmaster just does nothing the whole film. Bucky, you don't understand, all of a sudden he's into politics in this film, doesn't make any sense, there's no real explanation for it. It's just, obviously they needed some way to bring Thunderbolts in and drive his next plot arc or whatever, but it's really boring. I felt he was really underused, and to be honest, I was disappointed with, he just didn't seem to commit himself properly to the role. He just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed like he didn't really care about being Bucky. One kind of funny thing was, obviously, he acted in The Apprentice recently, and there's a bit where he's in like a meeting or something, and he has to talk like a politician, and for a split second you see his Donald Trump impression come out, and then it goes away, but I just thought that was kind of funny. But just criminally using characters that I would have been really interested to see a little bit more of. But Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Russell and Pullman are all really, really good. Pugh's Russian accent is a little iffy at times. It does sort of come and go, but still remains really convincing. Between her and Pullman, they make up the heart of the cast and the film and provide you with actually a little bit of on-screen chemistry. I thought there was a little bit of a will they, won't they. And it was funny. It was enjoyable. I like Florence Pugh. I didn't used to like her, but she, since We Live in Time, I have become a fan of hers. And she is a good cast. It's just, maybe, I don't know if the Russian accent was really the best choice for her. The introduction of Lewis Pullman's character, like I said, I'm really trying not to say things. But it does bring a new idea into the Marvel Universe and a new depth that, honestly, I was really not expecting it to go to. I thought this was going to be sort of like a Guardians, but not as good, like funny, but just sort of skims across the surface. But actually, you do get quite a deep dive, and it brings a new layer into Marvel, which I'm really excited to see them hopefully do a little bit more with. And he also plays the character really, really well. The character that they've introduced, you have no idea how difficult it is not to say the name. The character they've introduced, he plays it really well. I actually like the way his character progresses, and I really look forward to seeing what else they're going to bring in with him next. David Harbour's very funny and consistent with his character, which I was really, really pleased with. I thought he was going to carry the film originally, but actually he's just a very, very good sort of support actor.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you.
Good energy between the characters and very funny and entertaining to watch. Good action, good fight scenes, quite well written, a good helping of humour. It's a good film, it's enjoyable. I like that they were showing how feeble they were. There's a bit where they're like, oh, so all we do is kick and punch, basically. All we do is shoot. No one flies. No one has billion-dollar armor or anything like that. No one has any crazy abilities. I mean, obviously, super soldier serum, but no one's, like, invincible.
So none of us can fly? So what, do we all just punch and shoot?
And it gives you kind of a more realistic look at what a team could potentially look like. I don't know. It felt more realistic than, like, the Avengers feels and things like that. And it made me enjoy it a hell of a lot more. They're not afraid that the film has flaws, and it makes it fun. It makes it more relatable to you and I. One big problem I always have with Marvel films, it really annoys me that every time there's a huge threat, like in Eternals, huge threat, big thing in the sea. Like, every time there's a huge threat, only the people who are named for the film ever show up. Yeah, it could be, an Avengers-level threat, but if it's a Black Panther film, only Black Panther shows up for it. No one else is ever there. I know, obviously, like, scheduling and budgets and all the rest of it. It just annoys me that they're setting up a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but actually it's only cinematic when they want it to be cinematic, and the rest of the time it's actually just only one character story. It just annoys me a little bit. Like, this, if it wasn't dealt with quickly, I imagine the Avengers would have showed up for. But it annoys me that they're like, oh no, we say that there's all these characters, but actually you were only going to show them once every 3 years, once every 4 years altogether, and the rest of the time you were just going to show you all the individual. Like, either keep the story separate or bring them all together. It just annoys me a little bit. Okay, spoiler alert. Here is my Fantastic Four prediction. This is kind of random. I've had this prediction in my mind for a few months now. You're just going to have to believe me on that. Okay, so spoiler alert, this is my Fantastic Four prediction. I think Fantastic Four are going to fail in their film. I think Reed cannot save their universe from Galactus and the female Silver Surfer. I don't think they win. I think they lose. And they jump universe to our universe, and that's how they come into it. Because Galactus destroys their world, and he jumps to this universe. Reed finds this universe, and they come here to warn us of what's coming. Doctor Doom, however, Iron Man's Doctor Doom, is part of Reed's original universe and finds a way to follow him after Reed abandons him. And that's why I think that's going to be the cause of the conflict, because Reed abandoned him and their universe to run away, basically. And I think that is where the conflict is going to come in Doomsday. He wants to kill Reed. They don't want him to kill Reed. Something along those lines. But that's my prediction. Fantastic Four, they are going to lose. I also think Wanda might come along with Doctor Doom to play some kind of role. I don't really know. That's not really part of the theory, but it'd be kind of cool because it does happen in the comics. But my theory, Fantastic Four, they lose. Anyway, Thunderbolts, it's new, it's kind of innovative, great action, and refreshing for Marvel. I'm going to give Thunderbolts 3 stars. Possibly 4 for enjoyment, but 3 stars overall, and that's Thunderbolts.
This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box.
Alexei, have you slept?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I'd like not to die today, so maybe somebody else should be driving.
And on to our final film. Phoenician scheme, like I keep calling it. It's the Phoenician scheme. So, directed by Wes Anderson. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. And actually, since we're talking about Wes Anderson, that's better. Wes Anderson won his first Oscar in 2024 for The Wonderful World of Henry Sugarman. He won it for the best, I think it was original screen or best short or something like that. He also won a BAFTA in 2015 for his best original screenplay for Grand Budapest. It's a travesty that he has only got 1 Oscar, but given that he's one of the most creative directors out there, in my opinion. Okay, the run of actors in this film is incredible. So the main cast, the main 2 actors in this film are Mia Threepleton, Shadows the Buccaneers. I have to admit, I didn't like her role in this. She plays a nun, but even for a nun, she's incredibly rigid and lifeless. I didn't enjoy her role in this film, unfortunately. And then you have Benicio del Toro, who is the main man in the film, really. Usual Suspects, Sicario, and Sin City. Big blowout for him recently. Seems like he's in everything. He's also going to be in One Battle After Another really soon with Leonardo DiCaprio. Wonderful actor who just seems to be in a lot recently. Okay, here is the incredible run that Wes Anderson has got for this film. Scarlett Johansson, Marriage Story, Lost in Translation. Michael Cera, Juno, and Superbad. Tom Hanks, you'll know from Forrest Gump and A Man Called Otto. Bryan Cranston, you'll know from Drive and Breaking Bad. Bill Murray, you'll know from Groundhog Day, and also Lost in Translation, which I would love to see if there was a video of them reuniting or something, because that's really cool. Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog, which he won the Oscar for, and The Roses, which is coming out soon. There's a short if you'd like to watch it. Willem Dafoe, you'll know from The Lighthouse and American Psycho. And you've got Richard Ayoade from IT Crowd, Rupert Friend from Hitman Agent 47, Jeffrey Wright from American Fiction, great film, he was nominated for it, Riz Ahmed from Sound of Metal, and Matthew Amalric from Quantum of Solace. It is a bonkers cast that he managed to get for this. I can only imagine that people like doing films with him, mainly because what he does is so different from the usual stuff they have to do. It's stylistically wonderful. The casting's interesting. The stories he tells are different. So I imagine that he can throw such a big net and get so many big actors because everyone likes working with him because he is different. So it's a classic Wes Anderson film. It's very quirky and fun to watch. Like I said, it's very stylistic and appealing to the eye. It is not an overly long film, like I said. It's only an hour and 45 minutes long, so an hour and 40, really. It does whiz by. It's really, really great to watch. Like, Wes has this wonderful way of framing a shot where actually what you're expecting is not what you get. You know, you might have someone stood here like this, but then someone will walk in who's actually the centre of attention behind him, or someone will fly across the top of the stage. He just does these sort of really, like, blocky movements, and it gives him this really unique style that's just so... It's fun to watch, as well as it being well written. So, something I've really noticed, that Wes Anderson doesn't tell you things, he'll show you them. Like I said, he'll give you an interesting shot, he'll shoot something from above or really low, or when he does a close-up, it's a real close-up. It's not just here, but he shoots everything really narrow, so it's here, the close-up is here, it's not out here. You see every bit of emotion, you know, he wants you to feel really involved in the films, and he'd rather show you something with someone's, how they dress, or how they act, or the kind of shot they have, as opposed to the usual sort of over-explanation that we get in a lot of Hollywood films. So there's no boring or badly written characters from start to end. I'm really happy that they have Benicio del Toro because he plays this sort of the millionaire in the film really well. I'll just quickly tell you what the film's roughly about as well. So Benicio del Toro is the head of a big sort of arms company, and he's been working on his final scheme, the Phoenician scheme, for like the entirety of his life, basically. There's people who really, really don't want him to have this because it will basically provide him with so much money once it's all been made, and power. So the film is him trying to get people on his side to help him while people are working against him and basically trying to kill him. So you have like a series of assassins that come after him, things that go wrong. He's kind of like a cat. He seems to have 9 lives. There is some really, really funny bits in the film where basically, no spoiler, but you wouldn't get in a plane with the guy because there's a very good chance it's going to crash. It's just really, it's a really humorous take on someone's luck. I feel like it's quite a big element in part of Wes's films that there's a lot of metaphor and sort of external ideas like karma and luck and things like that, and it just makes it so humorous because the films are always light. They have real meaning and heart, but they're not boring. They don't over lumber you with too much emotion or unnecessary talk. They're light and they're playful. They give you their themes, they give you the metaphors, but it bumps along nicely. You're not feeling too heavy afterwards. They're really nice, playful. Even in stuff like the colour grading and the colour of different scenes, everything's nice and light. It's not downplayed and just heavy unnecessarily. Seeing Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks together on a screen was an absolute treat. 2 legends, and the main scene they have together is they have to play basketball to agree for something. We're back about that. I would watch those 2 play basketball for 90 minutes if it just meant getting to watch Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston play basketball together. It's such an interesting thing for Wes Anderson to have these 2 incredible actors, and he's just like, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of dialogue, and then you're going to play basketball while 2 other people off screen have a chat. It's just so... He has a wonderful way of flipping things on their head. You know, if you had Tom Hanks in a film, actually, I mean, if you had Benedict Cumberbatch, Scarlett Johansson, William Dafoe, if you had any of these people in a film, you would go, oh, they're the lead. But they're not. They're just like odd, funny little side characters that they're just sort of there. They're a side character. He's not even the main guy. He's just there for the laughs. Like he's in it for maybe 3 or 4 minutes in the Grand Budapest. A very well-known actor. He gets all these great actors. He's like, we're just going to have you in it for a few minutes. Yeah, you just be in it for a few minutes. It's a funny way of making everything feel a bit more normal. Like, you know, it's not just Tom Hanks. Wow, Bryan Cranston. Wow, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's just, no, they're just playing basketball. They're just chilling out. It's really, really fun. I think the film actually has a lot of widespread appeal because of that as well. Because it's lighthearted, it has the truth, it has its metaphors, but it's pretty close to being a family film, but it's a little bit deeper than that. I think there's a lot of widespread appeal. I think you'd be really hard pushed to not at least enjoy a Wes Anderson film. I would say, though, it's not his best film. It's simple to follow, but it doesn't go too in-depth on anything. Usually, I mean, in Grand Budapest, you get this wonderful romance. I would even say you get romance in Moonlight Kingdom. But in this, everything stays just slightly too surface level. You usually get a little bit more metaphor. Like the Darjeeling Limited is all about grief and things like that. But in this, there's not really a deeper level. It's all a bit too surfacey. I would have liked just a little bit more depth from it. I would say it's better than French Dispatch. I didn't dislike it. It's just the 3 stories in French Dispatch. I don't know. I prefer not an anthology in a film. I just like one long story we can get your teeth into. It's very traceable. It's quite art housey. It's not your usual Hollywood film, and it is refreshing to watch, which is the great thing about Wes Anderson films. If you ever really done another week, 10 episodes, we're in the double digits now, so we are surely, you know, I'm sure we're about to get picked up by Netflix or Sony or something like that. I can just feel it, you know. A24, I know they're writing an email to me to say they're going to buy the company out. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed the episode. I've loved it. Like, I love going to get to watch all these films. And when you watch something like Mission Impossible, that is just an absolute spectacle to watch, especially on IMAX. It couldn't get much better. Then you have the light-hearted comedy of the Phoenician Scheme, and that brings you back down to earth. And then Thunderbolts, a much deeper dive into the Marvel universe that I just simply was not expecting anymore. 1 5, 2 3s. What more could you ask for? And that's been the AJ Review Show, episode 10. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed watching that episode. If you could just drop me a subscribe down below, leave a like and a comment, that'd be really helpful. You can now find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd, all at AJ Reviews 101. And click to watch this video up here that YouTube recommended. Enjoy.